Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to explain how this is all going to go down. We are going to record all of these presentations, and there may be two ways of doing this. This may be one way, so the room just stops, which is uncomfortable at least. The other way is we may have another setup, but whatever we're going to do is an experiment, and I have some things I have to tell you, because it's my expo and I get to do that. But we are limiting expos presentations to 5 minutes or less. And I wrote a whole speech, but I'm not going to give the speech because time is of the essence. I feel like it's already 10:15 and I'm already behind. Just really quickly, the reason why this is happening is that for about 25 years I worked in book publishing and magazine publishing, and I sold my business and I wound up working at a funeral home, which is a bit of a left turn in Albuquerque. And I thought I would never be involved with anything creative. I didn't think I'd write again. And I wound up writing a book about death, skateboarding, and spirituality, which I have copies if you'd like to see it. It don't operate heavy equipment while you read the book, but all I can say is...
Works, Mike.
Good one. I think one personal note, and that is why I really feel so interested in this conversation, and it's because I have a booklet that's literally 5 questions about life and philosophy of life. And my father died about 10 years ago, and we had him in a hospice. And you know, it's funny, I'm a writer, and I never wound up getting his story down. And I thought, how ironic, you know, I'd give anything for the answers of these 5 questions, and I don't have them. So I think the reason for this expo is it's a catalyst. And it's a catalyst to start conversations, to start connections. And I really just want to say thank you for showing up, all the exhibitors, and just being here makes a huge impact. And I want to thank Friends House. And as I said, we're just kind of feeling our way through this expo. We're expecting over 100 people, but the conversations that I think have already started from this morning give me a good sense of the future. So thank you for being here. And all I can say is that if there are any problems, just come and see me. We have a suggestion box. And what can I say? Have a great day.
Thank you.
I'm with Cindy Champa of Cardinal Funeral Homes. You know, I worked for 5 years in the funeral business, and I have my own sense about it. But you belong to an independent funeral home, right? It's family owned and operated.
Yes.
And I notice here it's established in 1925, which means almost 100 years.
Next year, yes. So next year is our 100-year anniversary. The 4th generation is actually running the company right now. His name's Jimmy, young man, beautiful family, and actively involved in making sure that he shows the community that we're here to meet them where they are in their needs.
So Cindy, I know that your role at Cardinal is you do pre-planning, right? So for those who are maybe a little not so familiar, what are the things that you do to help people?
So when I meet with families, there's no cost or obligation. I meet either in their home, at the funeral home, or over the phone. And I talk to them about what their wishes are. What do they envision for themselves? What do they think their family might need at the time of their passing? And we work together to see what that would look like in terms of costs and planning. We record a file of information. We keep that at the funeral home. And I also share with them the options to be able to pay in advance if they choose. Paying in advance offers an individual the cost savings of paying at today's price, not whatever it goes up to down the road, and still gives them all the same options to access their money if they need it, to transfer it anywhere across the country, to make changes, really to do anything that they choose in the future, because we all know life can change from what we plan today to what we need tomorrow.
One of the critical questions I have for you is that, you know, we have some fairly large chains of funeral operations in this country, but you come from the independent side. And I'm wondering, for those people maybe not familiar, what makes the independent funeral home really so special?
That's a great question. I actually began my career in a very small town in Northern Ontario. There was no corporate model. It was all family-owned companies. And really, what a family-owned company does is really integrates the community. They're a part of the community. They're supporting the local causes. They're, supporting the softball team, and they're at the hospices events. Whereas what I've seen in the city sometimes with the corporate model is that they're really focused within themselves and their own production and business, and that works. For me, I've really needed to be able to help families in an environment where the owner knows the community, supports the individual needs. Being a part of a family business means you're dealing with someone that directly knows who you are. They've taken the time to meet you. Jimmy Cardinal calls every single family we care for. Within a few days of their funeral, he touches base, he sees how his team has supported them, and if there's things that we could do differently. It's just such an engaged relationship when it's a family-owned business.
And then my last question really is a more personal question, so I hope you don't mind me asking it. What drew you to become a funeral director and a funeral planner?
I was a little kid. I was 10 when I experienced a loss in my own family, and my family's tradition and belief did not involve kids at funerals at all. So tell me I can't do something and I'll find a way to do it. And by the time I was 13, I was working part-time in a funeral home. By the time I was 18, I was a licensed funeral director. I knew there was a need to educate and create an awareness. And my family was doing what they believed they needed to do. But it came from a place of not knowing, and I have made it my career and my focus to do the opposite and share. And now with little kids myself, they understand what funeral means and ceremony and cemetery and all of these things.
Well, I'm glad you guys are here, and I wish you continued success. Thanks,
Thank
Cindy.
you for the opportunity.
No, my pleasure. Thanks.
The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Before I get started, I didn't listen to Michael. He said, bring tea. Well, you can't eat tea, so I've got dark and milk chocolate over at my room again. So good morning. Grandmas and grandpas in the room, you are in such a unique position in your families to change the financial trajectory of their lives for the better forever. Imagine a world where no one ever has to live paycheck to paycheck ever again. What if you could be the one that starts the nobility in your family? And what if you can make that happen and improve your well-being at the same time? You can. The world has changed a lot. We used to talk about having Steve Jobs, Bob Hope, and Johnny Cash. Now it often feels like we're left with no jobs, no hope, and certainly no cash. Wouldn't you agree? We're facing tremendous challenges as a country. Taxes have never been higher. We have a fractured healthcare system where people get more sick waiting in line for care. Anyone been to a grocery store lately? Doesn't your money buy less and less? Stock markets up, down, and sideways every day. And if you live longer than your money, doesn't that just make all these problems a heck of a lot bigger? Really? So let's face it, regardless of how much money you have at retirement or think you're going to have, we all have the same three fears. Number one, will our money last as long as we do? Number two, will our lives have mattered? And number three, will there be anything left over to the people that we absolutely adore? And these fears, they grow as we age, so it makes very good sense to have a great answer to each of these questions. So first, how can you be sure that your money lasts as long as you do? Many people in my experience live a just-in-case retirement, limiting their lifestyle to save for unforeseen needs. So they don't take that world cruise, buy a cottage, or join a country club. Then, when you die, you leave all this extra money, and it's your kids that take the world cruise, buy a cottage, and join the country club. Does that seem fair? No. So what if you can arrange your finances so you could spend all of your money in retirement guilt-free and, at the same time, enjoy your retirement to the fullest while guaranteeing a specific tax-free legacy to the people that you love? And what if you can do all that while keeping access to your money all the way through, whether it's for opportunity or emergency while you're alive? Wouldn't that be amazing? You can do all of these things. So second, how can we be sure that our lives have mattered? They say we live once and we die twice. Once when we physically expire, and twice when people stop talking about us. Now, do you want to fade away, or do you want to be remembered? Which would you choose? Well, we each have three possible beneficiaries to our estates. We have our family, we have the government, and we have charity. Each of us can pick only two. Which two would you pick? Think about that for a moment. So, What if you could turn your CPP or Canada Pension Plan into a GPP, a grandparent pension plan, creating perpetual income for your kids or grandkids, rather than leaving or having your government benefits end when you do? I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? And what if you can convert your CPP into a much larger gift to boost your favorite charity and save on taxes at the same time? I mean, how mind-blowing is that? You can do all of those things. And third, how can we be sure that there'll be anything left over to the people we love, right? You know, death and taxes, those are the two certainties in life. But here's a mind-blowing concept. Now, everyone, lean in. I don't want people outside to hear. You don't have to leave a tip. You absolutely don't. Not at all. So let me ask you, would you rather keep your cherished cottage or investment property in the family when you're gone? Or would you rather your family be forced to sell it just to pay the taxes? Would you rather leave all of your RRSP or RIF money to your family when you're gone? Or send half of it, over half of it actually, up to our friends in Ottawa? Which would you prefer? What if you could make arrangements today to pay those exit or legacy taxes at a substantial discount instead of at full price and keep all of your hard-earned assets in the family? I mean, how mind-blowing is that? Do you know, you can do all of these things. So there you have it. You can live a better life, better in your own retirement, and make sure that your money lasts as long as you do. You can leave a lasting legacy to the people and things that you absolutely adore so that you won't be forgotten. And you can leave more to your family and disinherit the government. Now, the most important question of all, if you could change the financial trajectory of your family's lives for the better forever by simply rearranging your assets, would that be worth a 30-minute conversation to find out how? If it is, my name is Andy Kovacs. My company name is Moments of Truth Insurance Services. I'll be here for the next hour or so. Contact me when you're ready. Thank you.
As Michael mentioned, my name is Alicia Hogan. I work at Peaceful Transition, so we're a funeral home and we are changing the face of funeral service. I've been a licensed director since 2006, and I did a lot of my work in traditional funeral home settings. And that's not to say that traditional funeral homes aren't a fantastic option. They do serve their communities and their families as well as we do. But where I come from at Peaceful Transition is we have a kind of a different format. Smaller spaces, we don't have a big fleet of cars, and it keeps our overhead incredibly low. And what that does is it lets us pass savings on to families. It's a really great group of people. It's a really great place to work, and we encourage people to get creative. There's no sales pitches. That's not what we do. We have a really wonderful and extensive aftercare program, which I tell people about all the time. We'll sit down, we'll do Canada pension documents with you, we'll do foreign pensions, we'll help you cancel health cards, driver's licenses, whatever you need, and we will hand deliver your documents to Service Canada for you. You don't need to pay for registered mail, you don't need to wait in line, we handle that for you. Another thing that I might say to everyone here is reach out to local funeral establishments and funeral homes. Give them a call, speak to the people that take care of your loved ones. Ask all the questions that you might have. There are no silly or strange questions, that is very true. Well, there might be, but who knows? But reach out, ask the questions, get the information. Information is free. In Ontario, all funeral establishments are required to have their price list available online, so that's a great place to start so that you can get a good idea of what you're dealing with. And additionally, pre-arranging is really a smart thing to do. You don't necessarily have to pay for your pre-arranged funeral. You can go as far as walking in and just giving information so that your loved ones know what you want and what your wishes are. And you can go as far as paying for it so that they don't have to worry about that down the road. Most funeral establishments, ourselves included, offer really flexible payment plans for that. And we also offer really a lot of flexibility when it comes to paying for services at need, because we know that not a lot of people like to talk about death, and they don't necessarily plan for it, and we don't want to make it harder for you. I don't know how long I've been up here. I'm a little bit nervous, but I know I only have 5 minutes, and I'm over in the corner if anybody has any questions, and I thank you for taking some time to listen to me and what I'm about, and if you want to come and introduce yourself, I'd love to hear about you and what you're about. Thank you.